So let me springboard you guys a little bit. Let me find this first. Where is it? All right, it is. We had a viewer. This wasn't a question. This was a comment, but I think you'll find it interesting. It's going to inform the next question. Lynn Denena, excuse me, says, after I grew up and realized the sacred history of the tartan, I feared offending a Scot, so no longer wear them, even though plaid was my absolute favorite growing up. So there's somebody who's intimidated themselves out of actually wearing tartan because they don't want to offend a Scottish person. Meanwhile, Jeremy Forsyth had asked us, what are your thoughts about how Americans approach their Scottish heritage and kilts versus people in Scotland? So you've already talked about, I think, a little bit about the Scottish side of things, but how can we help this person feel a little better, and how can we answer Jeremy's?
Yeah.
Let me jump in first. Kind of addressing the first part of that. The kilt, the tartan, it's not a sacred relic. It is a pattern with a history to it. It is a pattern with meaning to it. More meaning than most. It's not, a Lily Pulitzer pattern that goes out a season, next season. It is something with history, and it should be revered to some degree and shown some degree of respect, but it is not a holy relic. Tartans, as a thing, evolved over time. They did not come down from the mount on high and say, here is the blessed book of tartans, let them forever be here. This is it. They evolved. And we were talking just before this show about the Sir Walter Scott kind of inventing the tradition, not quite out of thin air, but close. And then a few years later, the Sobieski Stewarts, who designed tartans, put them forward and were like, hey, these are 100 years old or so, I promise. Can we see the original book? No, but here. And they just made them up out of thin air as well. So every tradition starts somewhere. Tartans had an origin, yes, but they were not some sacred thing with billions of years of history to it. It was a cloudy origin story, a con job in some cases. So it's not something that you have to fear wearing or doing something wrong. Every time somebody starts something new, whether it's wearing a kilt or whether it's, learning to ride a bike, it doesn't matter. You're going to screw it up. You're not going to do it right the first time. But you have to start. And that's the point. You just got to go out there and start doing something. If you feel uncomfortable with wearing a tartan because you don't want to offend somebody, which is a very, very valid way to feel about it, then wear a universal tartan. Wear one that has no clan affiliation. That way, you don't have to worry about offending anybody because you're not treading on someone else's heritage or culture or name, not that you really are anyway.
Yeah, I mean, from my point of view, it makes me really sad to hear that there's someone out there who's watching who feels so bad with this, but that they don't wear it anymore because they're worried about it.
I think a lot of Americans feel that way.
It's really sad. And to put everyone's mind at ease on this, right? This is genuine truth. I would say like 99% of Scottish people, first of all, probably by looking at you couldn't tell what the tartan is, right? That's a matter of fact. And second of all, even if they do, they will absolutely not be offended by the fact that you're wearing it, regardless of whether you belong to a certain clan. Because most people in Scotland don't choose tartans based on their family anymore. Now, that's not everyone. There are people who do, in certain pockets, but the vast majority of people, especially those who live in the central belt of Scotland, Edinburgh and Glasgow, the main cities, which is a large part of the population, to be honest, we tend to choose tartans based on something that we like the colour of. I know lots of people who got married in a tartan that wasn't their family, but they chose it because it would go well with their wedding set. And so that tells you that no matter what family you're from, it doesn't really matter. It's not going to offend anyone in Scotland. I think there's a greater chance of offending someone in America rather than in Scotland, to be absolutely honest with you.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong there. I don't know.
No, it's weird. There's a lot of times Americans are sort of weirdly de facto gatekeepers for certain things, or this is the way my dad told me or my grandfather told me it was done in Scotland. Therefore, this is the truth, period. It's never going to ever change. This is exactly how it is. How dare you wear a clan tartan that isn't your own, or how dare you wear a kilt or whatever, because they're gatekeeping the culture, even though they're not Scottish, they're Americans with Scottish descent. So it's a weird one. You have, there's an entire spectrum of people, ranging from I'm going to wear what I like just because I like it in America, all the way up to no, you should only wear your family tartan. And that's all just America. Where in Scotland, Sean's been telling me all day and all of yesterday, it's not nearly, they're not nearly as concerned about it as we are. Americans are much more obsessed over doing the right thing, making sure you're doing it the right way, making sure you're not offending anyone than the Scots are. They're just, they're in it. I like this, I like that. Put them together, boom, that's my outfit, done.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I will choose tartan based on, even like tartan trousers, for example. I'll wear them based on the other clothes I'm wearing, not based on what family they're related to. You know what? I think there's killjoys in every walk of life. Whether it's ice hockey, whether it is whether it's tartan, kilts. Anything you can think of, there are gatekeepers, and there are killjoys, and they're a very small percentage, but they're usually the loudest people. That's the annoying thing, right? But ultimately, you just have to ignore them, right? Because the vast majority of people don't care, and they will feel, I think, humbled and appreciative towards you if you make an effort. It doesn't matter what tartan you put on.
I will add this as well. Speaking of killjoys, you can't live your life, and your happiness cannot be defined by what someone else might think of you if you do a thing.
100%.
Period. It's if you want to do something, if it means something to you, if you're not hurting anybody, then piss off. It's you do what you want to do to make you happy. And remember, 98% of the population either will not care or will support you or will love it, versus the loud 2% who might have something to say. Who cares? It's their opinion. Let that be their problem. Don't make their issues be your problem.
Definitely agree.
Yep. Very good.
So endeth the lesson.
Exactly.
I love that, Ryan. That was brilliant.
So, Sean, what tartan are you wearing there?
You know what? This is the American dream.
The American dream. I am offended. Nay, I am disgusted that you would choose to defile this tartan as a non-American by wearing an American tartan.
Well, you know what? Let me tell you a secret. I don't care.
See how easy that was? It doesn't matter. It does not up to someone else to tell you what tartan you are allowed to wear.